Professor Kumar, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
We'll start within 2 minutes.
Yeah, you just tell me about, just a minute, huh? Yeah. Yes, hello. Yes, yes.
We can start now. Surup, is everything right on the technical part?
Yes, Dada Sahib, it is live streaming on YouTube. I believe Facebook, it is not yet.
Okay, we'll wait.
Vivek Kumar ji should unmute.
Yes. I have unmuted myself.
Surup, are you ready?
Yes.
Good morning.
Jai Bhim, Professor Vivek Kumar. This is Venkat Maraju. How are you?
Hi, Venkatji. How are you?
Doing fine. Sorry, I had a little trouble logging in. Sorry, I've been trying last few minutes. Yeah.
Great. Nice to see you.
Yeah. Nice to see you as well. Yeah.
We have been missing ourselves actually for past so many years, huh?
I know. It's high time we should come to US, It's another round of...
And you pass through Delhi without meeting. Imagine.
That is, I know. I will make it a point. It's every time I come, it's a will tour, and it's.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely. I think try to meet sometime.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
How is everything?
Yeah, everything is going fine. It's just COVID. It's getting a little, just about everything is impacted, but I think getting back to normal slowly. So hopefully we all start traveling. Okay. Yeah.
Great. Venkata, we'll start now.
Yes, please.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning and good evening and Jai Bhim everyone. I'm Dada Sahib Tandre, hosting today's Ambedkar lecture series. So today's topic is contribution of Manyavar Kanshi in social engineering of Indian politics. And when I was discussing this topic, the reason why we decided this topic is on 15th March, we'll be celebrating birth anniversary of Manyavar ji. So when we were discussing about this topic, we didn't have so many options in our mind. We had only one option in our mind, that was Professor Vivek Kumar, because we knew his work, his contribution towards Manyavarji's work and working with him. So without any delay, we approached him and he politely agreed to be our speaker today. So I have 2 pages of introduction for Professor Kumar, and I think so I will not go in details because everyone knows him equally as I know him through his work. So in short, I can say that he's professor of sociology at the Center of Study of Social Systems, in School of Social Sciences in Jawaharlal Nehru University, one of the wonderful university in India and one of the QS world ranking among top 100. So along with that, Professor Vivek Kumar is also co-chair of Global Studies Program of University with 6 universities of the world, and he is also chair of Ambedkar chair in sociology, instituted by Ministry of Empowerment and Social Justice. He has also been recipient of Fulbright Teaching Fellowship, and through that fellowship, he was a visiting professor in Department of Sociology in Columbia, in New York, and he taught social exclusion and inclusion in Indian societies. As DART UGC fellow, Professor Vivek Kumar has also been visiting faculty at Hamburg University, Germany. Apart from these international assignments, he has also been visiting professor at number of universities in India like Pune, Jammu, and Mumbai universities. So he was also on planning commission of Ministry of Social Empowerment. He was chair of subgroup on awareness generation, statistics monitoring, innovation and research for the formulation of 12th 5-year plan 2012-17 by the Ministry of Empowerment and Social Justice, Government of India. Dr. Kumar was a member of Committee of Midterm Appraisal of Tribal Subplan and Scheduled Caste Subplan for 11th 5-year plan considered by Planning Commission of India. I will not take much of your time. His work has been, he has extensively written and have been one of the eminent scholar on the issues of social inclusion, exclusion, Dalits and Dalit movement. So without taking much of his time, I would really request Professor Vivek Kumar to please go ahead with his talk. Professor Vivek Kumar, please.
Thank you, Dada Sahib, and thank you, Boston Study Group, and of course, Ambedkar Lecture Series. It has been really great honor to be giving a lecture here, and frankly speaking, I was waiting for long. And whenever I saw Venkatji, and actually I saw, oh, Gary is also, Gary Tatkorov is also there. Hi, Gary. Nice to see you all. So, you know, I have been waiting, and ultimately it has come. Thank you so much for recognizing that I have also contributed a little bit of my academics. So I know nowadays actually, jo dikhta hai, wahi bikta hai, which is actually, you know, advertise, that only sells. So I don't advertise myself in that way. But Harvard and other people, they have this nag of advertising themselves more. So they do 10% work, but 90% of advertisement. I think that was actually, but that has not been my cup of tea. But thank you anyway. And I think the topic which you have given, contributions of Manyavar Kanshi in social engineering. Now, let me first actually remind you, this is really very, very opportune time. You know, because on 14th of October, 1971, Manyavar Kanshi exactly started organizing people. That means from 6 months now, we will be celebrating 50 years of Manyavar Kanshi organization building process. And of course, you know, many, many more years to come for his movement. The second thing is that this year is also very opportune time, that is 25 years. We'll be celebrating 25th year of a very prominent social engineering meeting which he held on 17th March 1996 in Delhi. So I think it's very, very historical moment that we are today trying to remember Manyavar Kanshi, and that too in the context of social engineering. And I'm reminded of, you know, a physicist who used the term social engineering for the first time, and he was Karl Popper. Karl Popper used the term social engineering and pitched piecemeal social engineering versus holistic social engineering. And he said that holistic social engineering, and he remembered Karl Marx in his book, Open Society and Its Enemies. In that, he remembered that those who are talking about revolutionary and holistic changes, they are unscientific. Why? Because science never studies the whole. It studies only parts. Therefore, piecemeal social engineering is the scientific social engineering, and we should actually go for that. Therefore, when I start comparing Manyavar Kanshi, because he was himself a scientist, and his whole maneuvering and his whole mobilization had a very, very scientific analysis of the situation. So I will be, going through 5 basic principles which were launched by Kanshi ji. And with these 5 principles, he tried to organize his meeting and his hustings and then his movements, which still goes on. The first principle which he launched was that to change the society, you have to understand the society. You cannot change the society without understanding the contemporary situation. The second principle which he launched was people get the leader they deserve. People get the leader they deserve because in democracy, leaders do not choose the people. It is the people who choose the leaders. And therefore, we have to think that never criticize your leaders, that leaders are bad, leaders are this, leaders are that, because it is you, people who have chosen. So I think it's very important to look into. The third principle was the community whose non-political roots, the communities whose non-political roots are weak, their politics will never be successful. जिन समाजों की गैर राजनीतिक जड़ें कमजोर होती हैं, उनकी राजनीति कभी कामयाब नहीं होती. The fourth principle was the power will be product of struggles. And fifth was those who launch the movement or those who oppose when succeed will be asked to propose that what is their alternative. So you cannot oppose only for the heck of opposition. Rather, you should have a positive proposal. Now, with these 5 principles, he started his movement. And, to be precise, I would not take much of your time. Rather, I will be synoptical so that you can make sense that what was his way of organizing the movement scientifically. So we all know that for the first time, when this movement was conceptualized, or he conceptualized his movement on 14th of October, 1971. 14th of October, 1971, with the name Bamsefia, and he tried to organize people that we can organize people because people are suffering. But, within 2-3 years, he realized that organization is not arguing or it's not going ahead. So he tried to argue that on 14th of October, 6th of December 1973, he met with his group of people and argued that we will do research for 5 years. We will try to analyze the whole society, the whole group, the whole movement for 5 years, and after 5 years, we will meet again to launch the organization. Now, during this 5 years, he tried to analyze the first two principles. The first two principles he was trying to analyze, that he was trying to understand that why Dalits are suffering, why the backward classes are suffering, and why the movement has failed. Especially, he was talking about Maharashtra, where the leaders were telling, Ambedkari vichardhara changli aahe par safal ho shakat nahi. Ambedkari vichardhara, Ambedkar ideology is very fine, but it will never be successful. These were the words which were given by the existing leader at that time. So he realized that what has happened. And he said that those who are leading, they have become stooges of Congress. And the literate masses, the literate people, those who are benefiting from reservation, those who have become officers, they have become stooges of stooges. And therefore, the movement has been lost, or it has lost the direction. And therefore, he argued to organize one seminar, will Ambedkar survive or revive? That was the, seminar he started organizing. Will it survive or revive? And that's where he started understanding that the society, the movement has been usurped by Congress, and Congress has taken away the leaders, the ideology of the political party, that was RPI, and therefore it's not going to be successful, and therefore we have to launch our another movement. As far as the leaders who was concerned, he started analyzing the nature of the leaders. Who were the leaders? Those who were leading, and how they were trying to organize themselves. So he quoted, one very important event, that was 1979, when the general election of 1971 was going to take place. And RPI at that time announced that we have got an alliance with Congress and RPI. But what was the level of alliance? The alliance was that the RPI got one seat out of 519 at that time in parliament. It got only one, and rest went to the Congress. Now, Manyavar Kanshi was, perplexed, and he said he wanted to prick the people, the way actually the people are organizing. So he wanted to prick them. And he said that, what is this alliance? In Ambedkar's, Pale mein, there is only one seat. Ambedkar has got only one, and Gandhi has got 519. What is this alliance? So this is disrespect, and we will definitely take revenge of this. And since then, he started. So then came the third principle, and the third principle, he said that why Indian politics or Dalit politics is not, taking up. So he realized that the non-political roots of the Dalit community, they have become very weak. And unless or until non-political roots, they are strengthened, the politics will never be successful. Therefore, friends, for strengthening the non-political roots, he used the third principle. And that principle was that we have to strengthen the non-political roots. Now, how you can do it? You cannot do it on its own. You have to make an extraordinary effort. And he started his effort by forming the organization that is called BAMSEF, Backward and Minorities Communities Employees Federation. I am repeating this because in the SAGE publication done by Sudha Pai, even the BAMSEF full form is wrong. If you can see, if you have the book, it is SAGE publication, and in the form, full form of BAMSEF, it is wrongly written. That is the research. And when you see her book, Sudha Pai's book, the second organization which Manyavar formed, that is DS4, you will see only one paragraph. That is the research level. Therefore, I'm saying that please be aware of the SAGE publication or Harper and Collins or other, publications which publish because they have access. Otherwise, for us, there are always gatekeepers. We will never get published from there, even if we send very good research work. So there is also politics. So BAMSEF was relaunched in 1978, and I am only giving 10 formulas on the basis of which BAMSEF was organized. The first formula in which he wanted to organize and mobilize people, the first formula was N into D into S is equal to C. N into D into S is equal to C. Need, N is need, D is desire, and S is strength, and C is change. Only need will not bring change. Only need and desire will not bring change. It is all the three which have to be there. And he was a mathematician, as you all know, and he used to explain this in his cadre camp, unless and until all the three variables have value, then and then only there will be change. So N into D into S is equal to C, is equal to change. The second formula which he gave was M into M into M is equal to O. That is man into mind into money is equal to organization. We need people. People are needed, but how? What people? And that is where he argued that we need people who have mind. And bureaucrats were already proved that they had mind. And they had money because there was a regular salary which was coming. And therefore you can form an organization. The third principle he gave, SRM is equal to SM. That is self-respect movement will be run by self-help. You cannot expect others will help you for running a self-respect movement. And therefore, it was very important that we can look into. Now, the fourth was the moral principle. The moral equation he introduced. And that moral equation was that you have to pay back to society because the people, the Dalit bureaucrats or Dalit employees have benefited from reservation, and therefore it is their moral duty that they should repay back. I think that was one of the very, very fantastic and historical analysis that nobody asked in movement, that there is a moral responsibility of the people to run their own movement. The fifth equation, he said that action has three stages. Action should not be done without understanding the three stages. What are the three stages? And this can be applied even today. What are these three stages? He says that action, reaction, and counteraction. You, as soon as you will do action, there will be reaction. And unless and until you have prepared yourself for counteraction, you should not do reaction. If you will do reaction, then you may be countered. So you have to have actually reaction and then counter. So action, reaction, and counteraction has to be put all the three. Then he talked about positive agenda. the sixth element was positive agenda. Now, this positive agenda, if you think is that, and this was done in the in our cadre camps, that if you want to shorten a line, never rub that line and shorten it. You draw a bigger line in front of that short line, your line will be bigger. अगर किसी लाइन को छोटा करना है तो इसको मिटाना नहीं है, उसके आगे बड़ी लाइन खींचना है. If you want to shorten a line, don't rub that line and then shorten it. Rather, you draw a bigger line. That means you have to have a positive agenda. Never spoil your energy, time in reaction to the agenda. Always set a positive agenda. Why? He also contributed and added, negative publicity is also a publicity. Negative publicity is also a publicity. Never do a negative publicity. Always have a positive agenda. Now, this brings me to the seventh very important program, and that was Mela on Wheels. Mela on Wheels. Now, Mela on Wheels, if you look at, Mela on Wheels was a pictorial representation of atrocities on the Dalits. This was done during, in October, somewhere 14th October 1980 to 14th June 14th April 1980, 14th April 1980 to 14th June 1980. And this was done in 9 states, not in one state, 9 states with hoardings, big hoardings. And I think if you see the pictures on that hoarding, that pictures were of atrocities on the Dalits, and that galvanized people. So I think it's very important that we look at that how he was trying to mobilization. Then I think I'm on 8th point. 8th point was, and this was DA plus DT is equal to social movement. DA, this was a Hindi abbreviation which we actually learned. DA, Dil mein aag, fire in the heart. And DT, Dimag mein thanda, peace in the mind. The fire should not be in the mind and heart both. If there is fire in the heart and mind both, there will be visport. There will be actually, bombardment. So you have to be. And I think this was a very important lesson to younger generation. Those who think that jala do, mita do, abhi, just go ahead and do everything. That is not the way to run a movement, according to him. And then the ninth, very important, if you read the article, and he was actually looking, he was looking that how to create a pantheon of the Dalit masses. You have to mobilize people. He created a pantheon, and of course, when he was doing research, he got the PhD thesis of Galombet. And Kashiram quotes in one of his pages editorial of Oppressed Indian that I have found this PhD thesis, and she is a girl from America. And look, she has come all the way from America to do research. But our intellectuals are not doing research on Phule. Why? And that is why they don't know even birth of Jyotiba Phule. That was his allegation, And that editorial still goes on. So please look at that, how he created pantheon. But when he brought the pantheon, what is best thing that he was trying to take this pantheon to nook and corner, very small places, with illiterate masses, with villagers, rural area. So he did not tell them they're the name, that look, he is Pule, he is Sahu. He said that I used to explain the masses कि मैं दाढ़ी वाला बाबा लाया हूं. I have brought a Baba with beards. I have brought a Baba with pagdi. मैं पगड़ी वाला बाबा लाया हूं. मैं अचकन वाला बाबा लाया हूं, साहूजी महाराज. And I have brought a tie wala Baba. That means Ambedkar. So this was the very simple way in which he explained the pantheon and their struggles. And you will not believe that he used to take these cadre camps for 5 days, for 7 days. And then he used to explain their whole movement, when they started, where they started. But younger generation is in very hurry. They don't want to do this research, and they don't want to. So the pantheon was also created with Jyotiba Phule, Narayana Guru, Sahuji Maharaj, E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar, and Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Two very important aspects or commonalities were they all were having anti-Ambedkarite passion. They were all they were anti-Congress. Very sorry. They were all anti-Congress. And we all know that how even Periyar in 1925 resigned. And not only Congress, but Gandhi, the way he used the terms, I don't want to use it here. So they all have one commonality, that they were against Congress. And second, they were all working for the emancipation of the suppressed classes, whether it was backward classes or whether it was Dalits in their own area. Now, having said this, the last element was that this organization called BAMSEF was basically organized as non-political, non-religious, and non-agitational. I think we have to understand the working of Kashiram, because he argued and he wrote that we do not want to mix activities of organization. And therefore, BAMSEF will be non-political, non-religious, and non-agitational. Now with this, he started his movement and started strengthening the non-political roots. Last but not the least, he also created that we have to fight again 3 M's in the society. We have to fight. We have to have 3 M's, but we have to fight against 3 M's. Money, mafia, and media. We have to fight against them. And these are the people who have oppressed us. They have blacked out us, and therefore we have to fight. So friends, with this, I think for 3 years, he tried to strengthen the non-political roots among the Dalits, the backwards, the minorities. And he kept on writing his editorials in oppressed Indian, where he tried to identify, where he used the term ex-untouchables, backward classes, and converted minorities. So use the term. Now, having given you the third formula, now I come to the fourth formula. And then he said that, okay, now the political roots are okay. Now we have strengthened the political roots, but nobody will give you power. Only by strengthening the non-political roots, you will not get the power. And therefore, he used the third formula. Power will be product of struggles. Power will not be, on its own. Power will be product of the struggles. And therefore, now he had already announced that BAMSEF will not be non-agitational. And that's why he said that we need something for his struggles, for agitations. So he launched on 6th of December, 1981, he launched another organization called Dalit Soshit Samaj Sangharsh Samiti, DS4. And you know, his writing of DS4 is very suggestive. This suggestiveness is, you can see that how he used DS4. Just like as we write H2S4. H2S4, that is 4 as written in valency. So he was a scientist, and therefore, if like D, S, and 4 was numerical. So this he actually started on 6th of December, 1981. But friends, I want to tell you the rationale of forming the first organization, and therefore the difference. I want to tell you the difference the second organization had. Now, Manyavar Kanshi released pamphlet for BAMSEF during third convention in 1981 in Chandigarh. And he wrote in that convention, and I quote, BAMSEF, it is a pioneering effort of the educated employees and for the oppressed and exploited society to which they belong. It is the pioneering effort of the educated employees and for the oppressed and exploited society to which they belong. And this is a very profound quote, which I'm just trying to quote you again. BAMSEF is product of deep desire. BAMSEF is product of deep desire, careful thoughts, conducted experiments, and evolved concepts. Can you imagine these 4 very important elements of BAMS? Deep desire, careful thoughts, conducted experiments, and evolved concepts. But when he launched DS4, it was a mass organization. Now, mass organization was not of literate people. It was for illiterate people. And therefore, he argued, who will be the member of this? There he was saying, man with mind that was educated, who were having employees. But now he was saying that Thakur, Brahman, Baniya chhod, baki sab hain DS4, except Thakur, that is Rajput, Brahmin, and Vaishya, all are DS4. That means he was very categorical for having actually implemented. Now, during this period, he started. How did he organize again? Now, this was an agitational and also actually other type of program which was there. In the meantime, Manyavar Kanshi had also organized another organization, and that was Buddhist Research Center. And it is here actually that he wanted to launch. And why he wanted to have a separate organization? Just because of his resolve that we should not intermix our activities. The agitational activities, the organizational activities, the religious activities, and the political activities, they should be bifurcated and they should have division of labor. Now, it is in this context, he started that, okay, we will organize people. Now, it is here that he launched, I will give you 3-4 very important programs. The first program, I think you should remember, was Sharab Bandi Andolan. That was actually how to close down selling of the liquor just near the Dalit bastis, Dalit localities. Because he said this is a design. गरीब की बस्तियों में शराब खाना, मुसलमानों की बस्ती में थाना, and upper caste basti has schools. So you have, in Muslim areas, you have police stations. In Dalit bastis, you have liquor shops. And upper strata, you have this. Therefore, friends, I think it's very important. Now, during this, he launched very successfully, I'm telling you, he launched two very important or three very important. One was Pune Dhikkar Divas. That was denunciation of Pune Pact on the 24th of September 1982. That means you can see that. The second was People's Parliament. I think that was very, very imaginative program, People's Parliament. And People's Parliament was launched on Boat Club. And you know, from Boat Club, you can directly see the Parliament. And he showed that, look, you cannot enter in that Parliament, but we can understand how Parliament functions. He started educating people through Parliament. And then after launching the movement in 1982, he said that People's Parliament will be an all India program, and he launched that program. The second very important program he launched was social action. Social action against, or social action propagating, and he wrote the slogan, social action propagating is struggle for equality and self-respect. And if you read the details of this struggle, this was for 100 days. This struggle went for 100 days and was launched from 5 points of India, from Kanyakumari, from Kargil, from Kohima, from Puri, and from Porbandar. So he covered the whole India. And that's where he said that this went for 100 days. And in 100 days, he says that 5 lakh kilometer distance was covered. 30 marches by bicycle. Miracle of 2 feet and 2 weeks. And 1 lakh bicycle marches must have been. And this is editorial of Oppressed Indian, which is explaining. He said that we spent 1 crore rupees during this period. 100 days, we spent 1 crore, but we reached 10 crore people. Now, this was the movement. And then last but not the least, he published the book, The Chamcha Age. And he tried to identify the types of leaders. So I will tell you only 2 types of leader. One is monkey leader. Now, he said that there are monkey leaders who keep on jumping from one party to another party. And the second was, he said that there are crab leaders, kekla leader, who will never develop themselves, and they have crab mentality. They hold the legs of the crab as crab, and they never develop. Similarly, the leaders are also not allowed to develop. But he launched actually from there that there are 4 types of chamchas. One is scheduled caste chamcha, which he called as reluctant chamcha. Then scheduled tribe chamcha is initiated chamcha. And then OBC chamcha is aspiring chamcha. And minorities is helpless chamcha. Now, I can go on, but I do not have time. But therefore, I'm saying that with this, he launched, the last part of his movement. And this was on 14th of April, 1984, when this social action program was being ended, he launched his 5th principle and the political party. And the 5th principle was those who oppose when succeed, will be asked to propose. And therefore, he said that, look, I'm not only opposing, I want to have a proposal. And for proposal, what I can do, what will I do? This proposal will be done by another political party, and that was Bahujan Samaj Party in 1984. But friends, what is very interesting for us to note that he was launching this political party in Uttar Pradesh. And in Uttar Pradesh in 1948, in Uttar Pradesh, in Lucknow in 1948, Baba Saheb Ambedkar himself has argued that political power is the master key. If you can capture, if you can capture that political key of power, then you can open your own locks. And Manyavar Kanshi used to repeat, and you know that in 1948, Baba Saheb had organized 5th National Convention, State Convention of Uttar Pradesh Scheduled Caste Commission. And that's where he was there. So you can say that within small period of time, he launched that political party. Now, this political party was actually capturing political power. Within 47 years of Baba Saheb proclamation that you have to capture political power, within 47 years, Kashiram said that I have captured political power. On 3rd of June 1995, for the first time he captured political power, and then he kept on capturing political power. But again, he was not bereft any program, he was not bereft any thinking, and launched the political party. No, friends, he was much organized. And that's where he gave his precise slogans. I just want to repeat those slogans. Vote hamara, Raj tumhara, nahi chalega, nahi chalega. Our vote and your rule no longer, no longer. Second, vote se lenge PMCM, Arakshan se lenge SPDM. From vote, we will take PM and CM, and from reservation, we will take SPDM. जितनी जिसकी संख्या भारी, उसकी उतनी हिस्सेदारी. Each according to the proportion of its population. Power should be given. Representation should be given according to the population, percentage of population. And last, जो जमीन सरकारी है, वो जमीन हमारी है. The land belongs to us. Whatever land is of the government, that is ours. And this way, he started his movement. Now, the last equation, he started proposing from what was the motto of BSP. And he argued, social transformation and economic emancipation is our motto. Social transformation and economic emancipation. And he brought, when he made Parivartan Chowk in Lucknow, Parivartan Chowk, he said that, look, I used to give only slogans. Parivartan, social transformation. Now, my slogan has taken a concrete shape. Now it is no more only a slogan. The transformation has started. It has taken a physical shape, and that too in the heart of the capital of Uttar Pradesh. And second, if you see the booklet which he has issued towards egalitarian society, and this book, he says the opening page, it will be actually inverted if you see, it says that Uttar Pradesh, the cradle of Buddhism. The Uttar Pradesh, the cradle of Buddhism, this is the booklet which was issued by government. That means he had a very different alternative that Uttar Pradesh belonged. And therefore, he said that Sarnath, Kaushambi, Kushinagar, Shravasti, all these 5 places belong to Buddhism. And these are Buddhist places, monuments, and that have to be done. Friends, therefore, I'm talking about that social transformation was very important, and that social transformation started. 2 programs only. 7 universities. 7 universities which he named. I think that was fantastic. Starting from Gautam Buddha University, and then Ambedkar University, Jyotiba Phule University, Sauji Maharaj University, even Kashiram Urdu and Farsi University, and Kashiram Agriculture University. Now these universities, nobody, no media house, no intellectual wants to talk about. Neither Badri Narayan Tiwari, who has written autobiography, nor Sudha Pai, who has written on book, on BSP. Though nobody discusses this. Why? Because they do not want to credit. And how many hospitals, I don't want to go into that. That is one program. Second program is Ambedkar Village Scheme. I think fantastic. You have to see that how Ambedkar Village Scheme, with the 7 programs, I can go on. And last but not the least, if you see communal frenzy, how communal frenzy was checked. Why communal riots did not take place during her regime? Because there was a KVBL formula, Karamveer Singh and Brijlal formula, that if there is a communal riot in a particular area, the SHO will be held responsible and he will be moved. No policeman will be no policeman will be placed on his hometown, and neither no Gunda will stay on the hometown. He will be jailed 200 kilometers away. And that's where actually, and every month the 10 number register will be placed. Now this was the program which Kashiram had envisaged, and it is here that he talked about social engineering with not only, he said that we cannot use, and that's where I want to read that 25 years back when he had given. He said that backward classes are in majority, but they are divided into 3,743 castes. And therefore, they are being butchered. They are being defeated. Dalits are also there in Uttar Pradesh only. They are 24%, but they are divided into 66 castes. And Muslims are also there, 17 to 18%, but they are themselves divided. So if they are divided, till they will remain divided, everybody will be defeating them. And therefore, he said that we have to unite. I cannot annihilate the caste, but I can use the caste to unite people. And he said, Majloom ek saman. All the exploiters are equal, and therefore let us come together. Now, in this way, he started moving his social engineering, and that gave India a very different. But he used to say that if and only if backward classes, minorities can win only 70 seats of the center out of 543, if the backward classes, minorities, and Dalits together can win only 70 seats, we can definitely have political power in our hand. That was his mission, or that was his vision for social engineering, that unless and until you have power, you cannot change the equations. I think I'll stop here. I've taken 1 hour. So, Dada Sahib, I think I can stop here.
Yes. Thank you so much, Professor. I will now invite for the audience for the question answer session. So whoever wants to ask question, please raise your hand so that we can put you in queue if there are multiple people who are going to ask question. So please.
So can I ask?
Yeah, sure. Can you introduce yourself, please, before asking questions?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. So my name is Naren from Central University of Haryana, and I'm a research scholar in the Department of Sociology. Sir, it is audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible, please. Go ahead.
Okay. So Vivek, sir, actually these days I'm working on the political mobilization of Dalits, so under which the different political parties organizing the Dalits. So you talk about this Badrinaran and the Sudapai. So actually, sir, I just want to know the difference between the caste identity politics which is used by this Badrinaran and sir, difference between between what the realities exist in the field. So is there any difference?
Okay, fine. I think you can read my article. It's on my ResearchGate. I have put it on ResearchGate that I do not agree with the people who call that Dalit politics as identity politics. I call it is an entity politics. Identity is a higher stage of evolution in the society, because we know that how Dalits, they were even denied the existence in Rig Veda, Purusukta, 10th Mandal. Even their existence has not been recognized. If they were not even recognized, that means they were only talking about their human rights to be established. What is the identity you are talking about? That is one, I think their existence was denied, and therefore they were talking about entity. Asmita nahi, astittu ki baat thi. Astittu hi nahi tha. That's what you have to recognize. Second thing, identity, we have been taught identity has a context. Context is basically, context may be caste, context may be religion, and context may be region. But when we talk about Bahujan Samaj Party, Bahujan Samaj Party says that who are Bahujans? Scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and converted minorities, and also backward classes. So which caste they are talking about, and which region they are talking about? And they are talking about also religion. Minorities should be included. So I think, therefore, epistemologically and ontologically, the construction of identity and association of identity politics is totally misnomer. It is only a very bad imitation of the West, and especially the people, because they will get, invitation from the Western society that they are also doing some identity politics and they should be called. But I do not see that this is an identity politics. This is politics of existence, and then politics of, sharing the power. It is not that you give me something here or there. They wanted to take the power on its own. If you talk about women identity politics, what are women doing in the West? They want that I want share in this. BSP was not talking about share. They wanted to take political power on its own and then give the power to the others and share it with the others. So I think identity politics, theoretically, methodologically, and epistemologically, is totally misnomer.
Thank you so much. Our next one is Santosh Gopal.
Badrinath do not know where Kashiram was born. If you read his biography, what did he write? He write that Kashiram was born in Bunga Khawaspur. Bunga is Nanihal, mother's town, which is different. And Khawaspur is Dadiyal, which is different. So please tell them that go and do some field work and then write. Do not write something trash. I am intrigued, I am pained, and that's why I am speaking like this.
Santosh Gopalan, please.
Yeah. Very thank you, sir. Really, we very inspired by listening your our today's program. Sir, there are small 2-3 questions, and I hope you will give this combined answer. First of all, after Kanshiramji, entered in politics, then people realize means scheduled caste, scheduled tribe also will be the one of the important key people in Indian politics. For example, वोट हमारा राज तुम्हारा नहीं चलेगा नहीं चलेगा, then जितनी संख्या भारी उतनी उनकी हिस्सेदारी. It means the prime minister or the main decision maker from the Mool Nivasi or Bahujan people. And what I read from Kanshram ji, Mool Nivasi also, this word is came from his means he's from his literature और उनका जो काम था उसमें से एक मूल निवासी शब्द ही उनके वहीं से आया है. तो सर माय क्वेश्चन इज, कांशीराम जी का ये जो पूरा संघर्ष है, वो संघर्ष मींस इफ यू सी इन 2007 सुश्री मायावती जी भी चीफ मिनिस्टर बनी थी यूपी में पूरे बहुजन पूरे बहुमत से. But right now, all these our rights, voting rights, it's ये ईवीएम के माध्यम से सर छीने गए हैं. तो सर, what is your guideline, sir, to the society कि आज हमारा जो वोटिंग जो है, वोट जो है, जो डॉक्टर बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर की जी देन से हम सब बहुजनों को, ऑल इंडियंस को मिला था, और ईवीएम इज कल्प्रिट. मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है कि एक ईवीएम जो है आज ये एक मनुस्मृति का रोल प्ले कर रहा है. तो सर उसके बारे में आप हम लोगों को क्या बताएंगे सर कि किस प्रकार से हम लोगों ने अभी ईवीएम जो है वो मुझे लगता है कि इट्स प्लेइंग वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल टू हमारे सब लोगों के हक अधिकार निकालने के लिए बड़ा रोल प्ले कर रहा है. तो आप सर कैसे हम लोगों को,
that's what I have not done any research, and that is not my topic of the lecture also. So I will suggest that if you have questions on my topic, I will be happy to answer.
Okay, Venkata, please, next. You are the next.
Yeah. So Vivek ji, I think it's a wonderful summation of the Kanshi Ramji's 40 to 45 years of his lifetime achievement, and how he started and build the movement, and then finally captured the political power. So in my view, in the series of our modern social reformers, starting with Phule, Ambedkar, Savitri Mai, the next tall leader that really achieved some what you call very qualitative change is actually a Kanshi Ram. Okay, he stands. We need a next generation leader now, but he's still for me in the modern post-independent India. He's the one I admire a lot. How he built the movement, and unfortunately, it's on the declining path right now. So, and I really admire how we knit a wonderful coalition of these, very disparate, right? Even this concept of OBC, I reject it because it's not it's only a reservation category, but in general, the way he knit this Bahujan, right? SC, BC, and minorities, if you have to tell in some legal terms, very, very admirable. Because even today, even 1-2 SC groups, I come from the Telugu states, bitter fight between these two large communities. And how he was able to bring them together is amazing. So, and now this BJP Hindutva, gaining formidable, what Congress couldn't achieve in some fashion, but BJP is, Brahman, Banya, and Kshatriya consolidated power, even though they are able to garner some OBC votes and Dalit votes. But the power, if you look at the cabinet, their appointments, it's a businesses, just a iron hand, the consolidation of Brahman, Banya, and Kshatriya. So in this context, one of the things, recently our, Professor Kancha Eleya has been writing about Shudra, right? There's a new book out there. I don't know whether you had a chance to read or some of his articles. So he is a little bit propagating most of these landed Shudras, which actually gained in the reservation terms, their general category, like starting with Marathas, Jats, and Yadavs to I don't think Yadavs are, but Reddis, Kammas, and these Okaligas, whatever, right? They never really captured the power at the national level. They confined to the state, confined to the village, land, and agriculture. And of course, they are the ones who really did a lot of atrocities on Dalits. But is it a time to reflect and consolidate this Shudra? To basically that was the original, Bapan, Banya, Kshatriyas, and Shudras, right? But because of the reservation or whatever the upward mobility of some people, they kind of separated, and now there's been a big fight between these the advanced Shudras and the ones who couldn't advance. So he when I've been reading a little bit about his book and all that. What do you think that is that something possible? Pan India, Shudras coming onto one platform to counter this new wave of Hindutva, where these three community or caste of Varnas have really got a solid power on India right now. So that's my question.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I think it's a very elaborate question, but I will be very precise. One, we have to look into that BJP. My analysis, whatever my little research is, and what I tried to also speak was this, that BJP has neglected the North Indian Brahmins.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have in their cabinet North Indian Brahmins.
Really? Okay.
Neither in the structure of the political party. Because they think the North Indian Brahmins are always with the Congress. So we should not do this mistake of homogenizing Muslims, homogenizing Brahmins.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely, we can say that the Brahmins of Maharashtra, Chittapavan Brahmins, and Brahmins of the South India, they have been the sufferers of the backward class movement or non-Brahmin movement. And that were the people who have captured the Sangha Parivar. They are the people and they are the leaders. But very recently, my research in Uttar Pradesh, when I went, I have seen that how Prime Minister Modi has been projected as a backward leader among the backwards in Uttar Pradesh. And there is a book also, there is a lot of, the book, lakhs of books were distributed, and he was presented as a backward face. And now in Uttar Pradesh, if you see, BJP has a new equation. BJP is coming with Kshatriya and backward equation.
Wow.
BJP doesn't have Brahmin equation. And that's why you see all the chief ministers in the northern India, whether it is Uttar Pradesh, whether it is Uttarakhand, whether it is Himachal Pradesh, and even Madhya Pradesh, though is a backward, Chauhan is a backward, Shivraj Singh Chauhan is a backward, he is being projected as Chauhan. So there is a very say minute and very subtle way of a new equation which is emerging, and that is Kshatriya and the backward classes.
Wow.
Now we have to look into that. And Nitish Kumar is not leaving at all. Nitish is still there.
Yeah.
So I think we can look into and we can see that how backward classes, they can maneuver themselves unless and until they think that they themselves have the capacity, capability, and numerical strength to organize themselves. I think that is somewhere is not dawning to them. Unless and until that consciousness is reached, they will not be able to organize themselves on their own independently. Though Kushwaha tried, Kushwaha did try, or even we know that Rajbhar was trying to organize, but they could not do it. Yes, Avinash, you want to say something?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I audible,
Avinash?
sir?
Yes,
sir.
yes,
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
First of all, jai Hind to all, and thank you, Professor, for this outstanding lecture on the contribution of Kanshi Ram on social engineering. So, when you were discussing of the 5 principles of Kanshi Ram, you said that third principle was that community whose non-political roots are weak can't succeed in politics. So, could you please elaborate that what is the non-political root of non-political root?
Non-political route is simple actually. You can organize another seminar. I can give you the lecture, but I'll give you just right now. We do not know even Bahujan Samaj Party's movement, or we do not know our BAMSEP movement. The BAMSEP are running different with names, with different leaders. They're doing very good work, I will not say. But they do not tell about the reality. They do not tell about the truth, that what has Kanshi Ram done. So when Kanshi Ram used to actually argue that we should not intermix and launch our separate organizations, why did people did not listen? And they want to have that, we want to have our independent organization. So you do not know Phule, you do not know Sahuji Maharaj, you do not know Periyar, you do not know actually Birsa Munda, you do not know any backward class leader, and you not even say that how Muslims and Dalits were united during Baba Sahib Ambedkar. And it is not siyasi. Had there not been, Fatima Sheikh, who would have given shelter to Jyotiba Phule? Jyotiba Phule was given shelter by Fatima Sheikh. Baba Sahib Ambedkar was given the land and Chaudhara Dank movement by a Muslim. So I think this movement, and when Baba Sahib was going to Constituent Assembly, it was the Muslim League who had taken from Khulna. So I'm trying to argue that these important aspect, if you see the history, what is the real fight? The real fight is between Vaidika and Avaidikas. The Vaidikas who believe in Vedas, those who believe in God, those who believe in rebirth, and those Avaidikas do not believe. So you have to draw a line from Avaidika. Start from Buddha, Charavak, Ashoka, but we do not talk about that. We do not know that there is an intense ideological division in the Indian society. And this division society has to go hand in hand or parallel. One is trying to mitigate the other, but we have to keep the separateness, exclusiveness, and independentness, and then only. But what we do not recognize. Koi bhi aaya, somebody has come, media has thrown him away. Oh, we say he's our leader. Oh, he's our intellectual guide. He's our this and that. Because we do not do research. We do not go to the depth. We do not have time to understand. I'm telling you, Boston Study Circle has called me after so many years. I am doing this work. I visited US, but nobody knew me that I'm doing my work because I was not tom-tomming. So I'm just telling you that how you do not know the real leaders, the real workers, the grassroots workers, only hog the limelight and we mismatch. Oh, Ravish ko bulao, Ravish is a Dalit. Arey bhai, Ravish kahan se Dalit hai? क्योंकि वो ज्यादा टेलीविजन में आ रहा है, वो जिगवानी को मिलाओ, मेवानी को बुलाओ, वो क्या गलत? अरे भाई आप ये देखो कि कितने वर्षों से कौन आदमी किस आंदोलन में कहां तक काम कर रहा. Then and then only you will say that. But you invite those people who are only hogging the limelight, and that is where I think we go haywire. Now you know what is happening in US. Who is considered to be the tallest intellectual? He do not know what is his basic stream of knowledge. What degree somebody has, nobody knows what is the basic degree. And he is considered as the greatest and tallest of the intellectual. And he will give us the right direction from where to go right now. So I think that's where the political roots are so important, that we know our movement, know our struggles, know our leaders, and go into the deep, that how many people are because of convenience and how many people are for conviction. I think this convenience and conviction has to be kept. Some people are searching bread and butter from the movement, and some people are actually putting all their blood and sweat in the movement. So you have to recognize who are these people.
Thank you so much, Professor. We have a question from Professor Asim Hasnani. Please, can you go ahead?
Absolutely. Dr. Kumar, greetings from Bridgewater. I'm from Lucknow and I teach sociology here in a state university in Massachusetts. And my question is more about Punjab. And I was looking at how you spoke about this whole social engineering and the work that Sahab did for social engineering. And I ask myself sometimes, I'm a very preliminary student of caste politics in India. So I'm trying to figure out ways of finding out why Sahab's social engineering worked so well in Maharashtra, UP, but seems to have lesser salience in Punjab, where he came from and where the Dalit community is pretty strong, pretty big, and seems to have churned out very strong movements of its own. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about that, if that sounds good to you.
Thank you. The problem is that actually you only read Oxford Press, Oxford University Press, or you read only for Sage or Cambridge, but you don't read Fossil Town writers also. Please read some people. I've written this argument long back. There are 2-3 articles I've written. One was written also by me in Percival Spear. I've written EPW, so many articles on BSP, why BSP has done well. And I've written my book on Dalit leadership in India. That is the only book on leadership. I have written caste and democracy in India, but I have not written, of course, from Sage. I have not written from. The simple argument is, Uttar Pradesh, if you go by facts and data, in Uttar Pradesh, I will begin one, that in Uttar Pradesh, Dalits, most of the Dalits, their land pattern, the land acquisition, most of the land, they have 1.4 acres of land with them. I think land creates a lot of consciousness, and land created a lot of assertion, independent assertion. I can go on, but I'm just giving you this snippet. You can definitely look at it. I've written this. Second, Uttar Pradesh had a vast bureaucracy, somewhere 8 to 11 lakh bureaucracy. And this bureaucracy gave Dalits lot of reservations. And because of the reservation, there were many bureaucrats or employees which became basis of BAMSEF earlier. Okay. And third, there are 2 very big departments in Uttar Pradesh which belong to central government. One is Post and Telegraph, and another third one was of railways. And we all know that how Kashiram used these railways, clubs, railways headquarters, and even post in railways. He used to travel from there and trunk calls the Dalits in the Post and Telegraph. They used to, at that time, 1970s, 80s, there was no telegraph. So how the people from Post and Telegraph office, they used to tell, Sahab is coming from this date, please take it. So I think they helped there, and their numerical strength also helped. But in Punjab, you know that Land Annihilation Act of 1902, Dalits did not have land there. And second, Dalits with Mangoram Walia and others, they had Adi Dharmi and Adi Adhar movement, which led towards more the religious unification of Bhaichara, Bhai Bandi. humanity. I think that was one way that they were co-opted within, because Kabir and because of Ravidas's couplets, they were in the Guru Granth Sahib, and that's what they thought, that oh, Ravidas is one of the gurus, and therefore they were more related to Sikhism rather than independent. And the third, of course, was that they were lured by Adi Dharma movement. So the political maneuvering could not take place among the Sikhs. And the Congress, if you see the whole analysis of Kashiramji, and Kashiram in his one of the oppressed Indian editorial, wrote about one of the magazine, Bhim Patrika, which used to come from Punjab, how they were being used by Babu Jagjeevan Ram. So I think there are a number of reasons, and because of that, there could not become a unified mobilizational practice. And third thing is that even Punjab, you see, the dispersal of Dalits is, region-wise. In certain regions, they are more concentrated, and that does not give them representation in different types of political parties.
Thank you so much. We have a question from Vivek Chavan. He is from Anna. His question is,
He is from
Anna.
Anna. Okay.
And his question is, Baba Saheb ka mission adhura, BSP karega pura. Looking at the today's Bahujan politics, is there a path to complete Baba Saheb's work?
I think these are very, you can say, futuristic question. So I do not have I do not have data to prove that. But what can I definitely say, that movements do not go in a straight line curve. They always go on zigzag curve. So movement may look today that it is going down, but tomorrow in a wave like it may go up, just a political power. So I think as far as political power is concerned, I think you can write that we are now down. But as far as organization is concerned, I do not find that it is down. It is there, but yes, we can see that how opposition political parties, especially those who are in power or those who are not in power, they keep on propagating Dalits from within because they cannot find themselves. And this has happened for so many years that they propagate certain Dalits. And because there is a media, we all feel that, oh, they are more powerful. But we see how Mewani was being projected that, oh, Congress in Gujarat, he will create revolution. But where did he land? He landed in Congress. And similarly, we are being seen actually that another one is being projected from Uttar Pradesh. Where will he land? Nobody knows. But that's the way actually people are projected, and we fall prey because of the media, which is always against the Dalit movement. So please remember, please try to understand the media also.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful. The next question is Dr. Nitin Tokde. Nitin, can you please go ahead? Okay, we'll come back to him. We have Mahinder Yadav. Mahinder Yadav, please go ahead and ask your question.
हेलो सर, नमस्ते।
Yeah, you are audible.
सर, मैं ये जानना चाह रहा था, बाबा साहब का जन्म महू एमपी में हुआ और जन्म स्थान मध्य प्रदेश और कर्म स्थान उनका महाराष्ट्र, और दोनों जगह पे बहुजन चेतना की कमी लगती है, ऐसा क्यों?
तो ये तो आप लोग बताएंगे। ये तो देखिए, मुझे लगता है कि चेतना की कमी नहीं है, वहां पे एकता की कमी है। मैं ये सोचता हूं कि अगर महाराष्ट्र में आप ह्यूमन रिसोर्स देखेंगे, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स की कमी नहीं है वहां पर। मैंने वहां पे जो एक्टिविस्ट, वॉट एवर एक्टिविस्ट आई हैव सीन इन महाराष्ट्र, दे आर रेडी टू सेक्रीफाइस एवरीथिंग and they can sacrifice even their life, contingent comfort. But the problem is that they also have this complex of superiority because Baba Sahib belonged to them, Sahuji belonged to them, Phule belongs to them. So how can I teach them? So I cannot teach them. That is also there. But what I see that we do not find, consciousness is high, so resource is very high, human resource is very high. I think that may be the area because everyone thinks that they are potential leader and potential Baba Sahib, why they should listen to others. I think that can be. But if once that get united, I do not think that anybody can defeat Maharashtra.
Thank you, sir. Sanjay, can you please go ahead? You are next.
Jabim, Vivek Kumarji, we met multiple times in New York and Columbia University for the different occasions. And when in the beginning you asked the question that why Boston Study Group didn't invite you, and we started Boston Study Group 5 years back, and we started this Ambedkar lecture series around 4.5 years back, and today is the 40th episode of Ambedkar lecture series. And then I was also started wondering why we did not have the Vivek Kumarji on our Ambedkar lecture series. So I believe there must be some goof up on our part that we might have thought you are out of our reach or something because you are very busy and very famous. So I think that is one of the reason I can think of. And considering that Venkat and all these, most of us, and still we did not get you here. That is really surprising, but we will fix this mistake and we'll see that we get you very frequently so that you get tired of coming on the Boston Study Group.
No, Sanjay ji, we hosted Vivek ji even before Boston Study Group was formed.
Yeah. No, I'm talking from the Boston Study Group. I'm talking about the
Boston a tall intellectual and the Boston Study Group, initially we used to do all this on-site, right? We used to do either at MIT and Harvard and UMass. So it was mostly in person. So since we started, and only last, like a few months, we started doing this online. So I mean, you are one of our dearest friend and you're admired a lot in our circles. I know some of the things you said. There are this, this happened since Ambedkar time, Kanshi Ram time. We always have these elements who get a lot more, noise, and they, like you said, they make bread butter out of this movement, and people are quietly, without any fame, name, they're putting their bread, and I know so many activists on the ground. So, and you belong to one of those. We all recognize that. So any mistake on our part, apologies again.
No, not at all. Please, actually, I think, I have all the right to complain.
Yes. That's actually a better.
That is what I'm saying. That
if I will not make a complaint on my platform, where will I be?
No.
We will rectify it, and we will see that many occasions.
No, Sanjay ji, please don't embarrass me.
I'm monitoring this YouTube streaming, and I see there is one question from Afzal Ansari. And the Virendra Gawai also has the similar question. So it is what Kanshiram Sahib thinks about the social division among Muslims. So it is a question in the YouTube.
Yeah, I think, Manyavar Kashiram was quite clear actually about the one. He used to argue that he always talked about converted minorities actually. And he also, I think if we go in the initial stage of Manyavar Kashiram's mobilization and maneuvering, I think we can see that the most backward classes, I still remember Afzalgarh se ek Jhojja hua karta tha, Murad Lari hua karte the, udhar Ghosi, Gaddi, Kasai, Chikwa, Kunjada. I think the most backward section of the Muslim became the mainstay. शाहबाद से जो हुआ करते थे उस समय वो गोसी और गद्दी और मतलब बिरादरी के थे. इधर मन्नान हुआ करते थे संडीला से और मुराद लारी हुआ करते थे जुलाहा समाज से. तो I think they had actually very good understanding rather than actually that there is a caste system within the Muslims, and there they understood that there is Ashraf, there is Ajlaf, there is Azral, and also we had actually different. So we wanted to mobilize in the beginning, but later on gradually I think they have stifled out, and there was a most backward Dalit political party in Uttar Pradesh also, which mobilized them, and that's why they were lured there.
Next is Nitin from New Jersey. Nitin, can you please go ahead?
Hi, Nitin. Nitin Barsaragavade.
Yes, Nitin, yes. Written short.
Subhash Gaidam also put up.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Subhash Ji.
Jai Bhim, Professor Vivek Kumar. My question is very broad, and it's one that concerns me. We like to think that India is a secular democracy, and it looks like the concept and the practice of secular democracy is under threat right now. What can we do to make sure that secular democracy prevails?
Well, I think, as a sociologist and as a person who really hails from understanding of sociology, I think, there are actually two functions. One is latent function and one is manifest function. Manifest function may be giving you that impression, but I see that actually that only is a bubble that is not going to last. I was doing a research in Purvanchal, Uttar Pradesh. And when I talk about Purvanchal, Uttar Pradesh, I do not know whether I should begin with Buddha or I should begin with Kabir or Ravidas, or I should begin with the modern poets, Kaifi Azmi, or Amitabh Bachchan's father, Harivansh Rai Bachchan, or I should begin from Dalit Murdaiya, written by Tulsi Ram. So I don't think that actually, वो बहुत अच्छा शेर कहता था, ये भोपाल से थे, वो किराएदार हैं, जाति मकान थोड़ी है. So I don't think that actually these things are permanent. And we know that in India, Genghis Khan was there ruling. And we also know that there has been 1100 years of rule of different, hues, where actually Muslims also ruled and Hindus also ruled. So I don't think that actually India is so shallow. We have seen that how even Akbar has to bring Deen-e-Ilahi, and even Ashoka had to actually go to Buddhism. So those who want to rule and govern India, I think they will have to come back to secularism. They cannot break the fabric. They may look that they are breaking, but I don't think that it will last long. And even the greatest height, they only have 30% of the vote. 70% of India still votes in the opposition. So I am very confident of my democracy. I am very confident of my secularism in India.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have one question from Anil Wagde. His question is, will Dalit Brahmins come together for the next elections given BJP is doing Kshatriya and OBC coalition?
I don't think actually that there has been any coalition. The only thing is that, when there is a impediment, when there are certain speed breakers in the society, and I argue that the Brahmins, if you see politics of Uttar Pradesh, they may not support you, and but they have lot of influence to misguide people. They can misguide you. And this is very important that you can be, understanding that how Brahmins can misguide people. They can say, "Arey kya yaar, dono ko lutiya sharik party mein jao," because they are the people who influence at the grassroots. They are the people who take out every date, every moment, auspicious moment. So they are the people who influence the most. Now, what is actually the planning that if you can cajole few of them and you can actually give an impression that they are with you, then actually they are not able to misguide the lot at the grassroots. That is the only understanding which political party has. If you see that, never in the structure of the political party, membership is given. No, except one showcase, there is no one else actually you can even name that these are the people who are in the. So I would say that there is no coalition of Brahmin Dalit in the grassroots at Uttar Pradesh.
Thank you. We have Rajesh Ganvir. Can you please go ahead and ask your question? Rajesh Ganvir, please.
Hey, Dada Saheb.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you can take the questions from the YouTube. I have sent you on the YouTube, or I can read if you want.
Can you please?
Are people watching on YouTube also?
Yeah, we are streaming on both the Facebook as well as YouTube. So we have around 26 concurrent users
there
on
are
the
another
YouTube.
25 people there on YouTube.
Yeah.
Huh?
About 25 people watching on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Professor Vivek ji, we have 3 questions on the YouTube. So the first question is from Savita Kumari. She is asking, क्या BSP 207 जैसा प्रदर्शन 2022 में कर पाएगी? So that is the first question. And I will put all the 3 questions here so that you can answer. Sir, how to address subcaste dilemma among Dalits? And the third question is, सर नेता के ऊपर विश्वास खोने का क्या कारण हो सकता है?
Yeah, I think actually, we cannot say much about that. Actually, we always keep hope. Whenever politics is done with the hope that we will do best. And I think that's the way we can hope for the best. But anything cannot be guaranteed right now. But I think if I see the way people are flogging together, they are asking for the tickets. I always think कि जैसे लोग होता है ना, हमारा शेयर बहुत अच्छा है पार्टी का, तो पार्टी का शेयर कैसे अच्छा लगता है जब लोग टिकट मांगने आ रहे होते हैं. तो if I see in Uttar Pradesh, I am seeing that how many people are flogging and they are asking हमको चाहिए टिकट, तो उनका शेयर तो बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है कि टिकट मांगने से उनका शेयर बड़ा बिक रहा है. वो कितना जो है उसमें बनेगा, I don't know. Second thing is subcaste. Actually, I think subcaste division can only go with the deliberate attempt and deliberate understanding and making people conscious. I think we need to design a curriculum that how we can bridge the gap between the subcasteism. Unless and until we design a curriculum, we do not have a program, it is not going on its own. That I have realized, that I have seen, that it is not going. One way to suppress was that people can have power. If one caste has a power, people may also go and be appendage to that caste. But they do not suppress, they do not absolve themselves from political divisions. So what we have to do, we have to design a curriculum, we need a program so that we can suppress that. Leadership, I think, is trustworthy leadership only comes with the time. I think it's very important that you have to see the time, how long that leader is having an independent agenda. Second, what is the program in which he takes the line? What are the writings when he is taking a line? Or whenever there is an issue, where does he stand? I think these are 4-5 very important element. पहले कितने वर्षों से लगा है, दूसरा जब आपको जरूरत पड़ती है तब वो आपके पास दिखाई पड़ता है या नहीं पड़ता है, और तीसरा कि वो क्या अपनी रोजी रोटी चलाने के लिए तो उधर नहीं आया है, दलित इशू को इसलिए बेच रहा है, दलित इशू को इसलिए लिख रहा है कि उसकी रोजी रोटी मिले और वो बहुत ज्यादा फेमस हो जाए। वरना मुझे आज तक कभी मुझे अपनी किताब बेचने के लिए एक सवर्ण से उसके ऊपर लिखाने की आवश्यकता नहीं पड़ी। लेकिन मैंने अभी एक किताब देखी जो ऐसी आई है हार्पर एंड कॉलिंस से, जिसमें एक सवर्ण ने उसका एपिग्राफ लिखा है, उस पे ब्लर्ब लिखा है। आप अपनी दलित पर किताब बेचने के लिए सवर्ण से ब्लर्ब लिखा रहे हैं, तो इसमें आपको कहीं ना कहीं ये बात प्रमाणित होती है कि आप अपनी रोजी रोटी के लिए ये किताब बेचने जा रहे हैं और अपने नाम के लिए किताब बेचने जा रहे हैं, समाज के उत्थान के लिए नहीं बेचने जा रहे हैं।
Dada sir, there are 2 more questions on the YouTube.
Yeah, I saw them.
Okay, please.
I'm taking 3 questions together now because we have only last 15 minutes. So I try my best to cover all the questions. So I'm taking 1 question from Facebook and 2 questions from YouTube. The question from Facebook is by Sunil Gautam. So he asked that Kanshiram ji did a wonderful social engineering at that time. However, now, this is a very interesting question. However, now the time has changed. Many new Bahujan groups have emerged. There is a need to bring all these new groups under one umbrella. In today's time, do you think a new type of social engineering is required? This is 1 question. And the 2 other questions are, one is from Arun Mahanand. He asks, can you please explain the current fractions and future of Dalit Bahujan politics of India? And the 3rd question is by Shubham Ramteke. He asks, what should be our policy for betterment of the society?
Okay, when Baba Saheb was working, even then actually people were opposing them. They never accepted his leadership. And we know that how Munje and others, they were against, how Kajlorkar defeated actually. So it is always to say that jab tak Kashiram the, tab tak acha tha. Kashiram was there, everything was okay. I don't think so. That even during Kashiram, people did not accept his leadership and he sacrificed his life. So I think there will always be opposition because there are different levels of emergence of leadership. And those young leaders who do not have any understanding of the history of the movement, they think they are the only revolutionary people. Rest are bogus. They have not done anything. जो भी ताली बजती है, whatever clapping is done, that is not because of us. Nobody is appreciating us. People don't realize that. Clapping is because of Baba Saheb Ambedkar. I get clapped and you accept me as a Dalit intellectual or a Bahujan intellectual because I speak Baba Saheb Ambedkar. I speak Manyavar Kanshi. So I get clapping, I get applause, I get appreciation because of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, because of Phule, because of Sahu. What I speak for them. I speak for researchers on Bahujan Samaj Party. So people appreciate me that way. So I think there is lack of acceptance of the real work done by our historians or by our historical leaders. If we do not accept the real done work by our historical leaders, the reformers, we do not Unless and until we do not, we will always commit this type of mistake that, look, I am revolutionary. And the media, which is always against the real movement, will give them space, will highlight them. And nobody has given till now Manyavar Kanshi that he should be awarded Bharat Ratna because he changed. But why did actually Bharat Ratna was given to Atal Bihari Vajpayee? Just because he belongs to from power. So I think we do not respect our movement. We do not respect the history of our movement. We do not respect the leaders as much as we can. Or we do not also get angry. We do not get angry on the real thing. Because when something is taken away from the real leader, we do not agree. But if somebody says, jala do, mita do, usko bhi ye kar do, I think everybody catches. This is the level of mentality, actually. If you are speaking positive construction, nobody will hail you. But if you abuse Brahminism, if you abuse a Brahminical leader, everybody say, oh, he is a revolutionary. That is the mindset which has been constructed. So we are up against the construction for positive construction of the society, positive construction of the movement, and positive construction of the future of the movement. Please don't react. Think that who are the leaders who are talking about only construction, positive construction. We do not have a movement where you start actually dissecting our movement, our population. Oh, our society is bad, our intellectuals are bad, our middle class is bad, our high class is bad. You start actually criticizing our society. No, this is not the time. You compare the upper caste movement and you compare the Dalit movement. How upper caste movement tries to highlight every little thing which is positive there. But we even have actually positive thing we cannot eulogize. We cannot appreciate that. That's what the difference is. And that's why we find that there are a lot of divisions in the society.
Thank you. Now, I have one question. I think so. I also had that question related to that same thing. And it could be also a very good conclusive question, which will encompass everything. He's Nitin from New Jersey. He asked, what are the lessons learned from Kanshiramji's movement? What are some of do's and don'ts for the today's leadership?
I think I have written this long back also. The first thing, we have to understand the society. If we really want to understand, if we want to launch a movement, we have to understand the society. The second thing is that we have to have an organization. Without an organization, you cannot have a movement. And that organization will be gradual, slowly. All of a sudden, if any leader who comes all of a sudden in the limelight, that means it is farcical movement. Nobody will highlight a Dalit who is for the movement. They will highlight only those Dalits who are against the movement, against the society. They hog the limelight. Mind you, this is first. So you have to have a understanding, you have to have an organization. Second, you have to have an ideology. Without ideology, you cannot launch a long movement. And then you prepare a cadre. If you have a cadre, I think then and then only you can succeed. And last but not the least, you have to have financial help and human resource help. So this help will come on your own, independently. You cannot expect that others will come and help you. You will be helping on your own. And therefore, I think it's important that we should have totality. You should have a package. You should not have 1, 2, 3, 4. आपको बहुत अच्छा बोलने वाला मिल गया, आपने कहा ये लीडर हो गया. No, that is not going to be a good leader. Whether he's a good organizer also or not, whether he is ideologically sound or not, whether he knows the society or not. I think all these things are cardinal elements for a organization and a movement for futuristic perspective.
Thank you so much. Now, I would like to conclude the question answer session because it has been long. He spoke for 1 hour and he has answered for 1 hour. It shows that there is a need for another talk very soon by Professor Kumar. We can carry forward the same discussion in something called part 2 of Professor Vivek Kumar.
Yeah. So, Dada Saheb, Professor Vivek Kumar ji has always told that there is the 50th anniversary of starting of this Kanshi Ramji's movement, correct? I think that is a good occasion on 14th October. So it is a Dhamma Chakra Pravartan Din also on 14th October. So that is a good occasion to get Vivek Kumar ji if possible. And we'll try to reach out to him.
Yeah. So Professor, already you know now, like you are going to talk on this another very important historical day for us. So thank you so much. And like listening to your talk, I people like me, young academic and like activist, really get inspired. And this is not the first time, or like I have been listening you like since my TIS days, like last 2008, your counter revolution speech, and even today's thing. It has been always a learning process. And apart from learning the contribution of Manyavar ji, like you also reflected your experiences of how you have to work towards our community or towards contributing in this movement. And you need to be aware of like FARS activists and all that. And thank you for giving us those lenses. And thank you so much for your valuable 2 hours for like supporting us and for enlightening or enriching our experience and learning process of this movement and contribution of Kanshi Ram.
So on my behalf, I really thank a lot for everyone for giving me this opportunity. And of course, Venkat ji and other seniors, those who have always been our strength. And we all know that how they are strength of the movement in US also. I know, we have lost very senior people, V.K. Chaudhary, and also actually, some others, those who have actually contributed, and they formed the Dalit movement in US in 1971. And therefore, I think Venkat ji has been a strength and has always been motivating force. I have met Nitin also there. So thank you very much, Sanjay ji. Of course, there is not at all any grudges. And I think actually people definitely get their time when, of course, the nature deserves. And I think nature has brought me. So I'm very happy to be part of Boston Study Group. And I think I wish them that they should keep on serving the society like this. So I'm really proud of Boston Study Group. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Before
Jai Bhim. Thank you.
Jai Bhim, Venkat ji.
I would like
Jai Bhim. Yeah.
For next Ambedkar, the next Ambedkar lecture series is scheduled on 27 March. And the speaker is Professor Ashalata Kamble, a poet, Ambedkarite feminist poet. And she has extensively written on that. And the topic what she'll be talking is contribution of Ambedkarite feminists in anti-caste movement in India. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all of you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, Jai Bhim.
Jai Bhim to everyone. Yeah, thank you for attending.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Asim ji. मैं भी लखनऊ से हूँ.